The sun rose, casting a warm glow across the city and filtering through the sheer curtains of Aaliyah Johnson's apartment. She lay in bed, heart racing, as excitement coursed through her veins. Today was the day she would marry Marcus Reed, the love of her life. The wedding she had meticulously planned for months was finally here, and everything was going to be perfect. Aaliyah rolled out of bed, her feet landing softly on the cool wooden floor. She took a moment to breathe in the scent of fresh coffee wafting from the kitchen, mingling with the faint fragrance of the lavender-scented candle she had lit the night before. It was a ritual she had developed over the years, a calm before the storm, and it always helped center her. "Okay, Aaliyah," deep breaths, she whispered to herself, glancing at the clock on her bedside table. She had a million things to do, and time was ticking away. Today was not just any day, it was the culmination of years of love, struggle, and triumph over adversity. She padded to the bathroom, running a brush through her long, curly hair as she stared at her reflection. The woman looking back at her was confident, beautiful, ready. She could already envision herself walking down the aisle in her stunning wedding dress, the fabric glimmering under the soft lights of the venue. But buried beneath the excitement was a flicker of anxiety. What if something went wrong? What if the weather didn't cooperate? What if? Stop it, she scolded herself, shaking her head. Today is about love. With a renewed sense of purpose, Aaliyah set to work. She slipped into her floral robe and headed to the kitchen, where Tanya Williams, her best friend and maid of honor, was busy pouring steaming coffee into 2 mugs. Tanya's stylish bob bounced as she turned, her face lighting up with a wide grin. "Good morning, beautiful. Ready to become a wife?" Tanya teased, handing Aaliyah a mug. Aaliyah laughed, taking a sip of the rich brew. "As ready as I'll ever be. Do you think I'll trip on my dress?" "Only if you don't watch where you're going," Tanya replied, rolling her eyes playfully. "But trust me, you're going to look stunning. Marcus won't be able to take his eyes off you." Aaliyah felt warmth spread through her at the thought of Marcus. He was her rock, her inspiration. Despite the challenges they had faced, their love had only grown stronger. She remembered the first time they met at the community center during a charity event. He had been charming, engaging, and full of life, even from his wheelchair. Aaliyah had been drawn to him instantly, and she knew that their connection was something special. The two friends moved around the kitchen in a comfortable rhythm, chatting about the day ahead. Tanya was a whirlwind of energy, reminding Aaliyah of the timeline they had established, the vendors to coordinate, and the guests to welcome. As they prepared, laughter filled the air, dispelling the nerves that had clung to Aaliyah since the night before. She cherished these moments with Tanya, who had been her steadfast supporter through every high and low. "Okay, let's get started on your hair and makeup," Tanya declared, pulling Aaliyah toward the living room, where a makeup station had been set up. "We want you looking flawless for Marcus." Aaliyah settled into the chair, feeling the soft bristles of the makeup brush against her skin as Tanya worked her magic. With each stroke, Aaliyah felt more and more like the bride she had envisioned. "Do you remember that time we went dress shopping?" Tanya asked, her voice lighthearted. "You were convinced you'd never find the one because you couldn't decide between a classic or modern style." Aaliyah chuckled, recalling the memory vividly. "I tried on so many dresses, but when I put on this one, I just knew. It felt like it was made for me." "Exactly. And Marcus is going to have that same reaction when he sees you," Tanya said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "He'll be speechless." As Aaliyah admired her reflection, a sense of calm washed over her. She felt beautiful, empowered, and ready to take on the day. But as the makeup session came to a close, a pang of anxiety returned. What if they weren't ready? What if something went wrong? "Hey, Aaliyah," Tanya interrupted her thoughts, standing back to admire her work. "You're going to be amazing. Don't forget, you and Marcus have overcome so much together. Today is just another step on that journey." "Thanks, Tanya," Aaliyah replied, her voice a little shaky. "I just want everything to go perfectly. That's the spirit," Tanya said, clapping her hands together. "Now, let's get you into that dress." They moved to the bedroom, where Aaliyah's wedding gown hung gracefully on a velvet hanger. It was a breathtaking creation, a delicate lace overlay with intricate beadwork that shimmered in the morning light. As Aaliyah slipped into the gown, She felt a rush of emotions. She was filled with hope for the future, love for Marcus, and a deep sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought her here. Once fully dressed, Aaliyah took a moment to admire her reflection in the full-length mirror. The woman looking back at her was a vision of elegance and strength, embodying the love she felt for Marcus. "Okay, let's go," Tanya cheered, snapping her fingers. "We have a wedding to celebrate." As they made their way to the venue, Aaliyah's heart raced with anticipation. The drive through Buckhead was filled with colorful flowers and towering trees, the city buzzing with life. She could hardly contain her excitement today. She would pledge her love to Marcus in front of their family and friends. But as they pulled into the parking lot of the elegant ballroom, Aaliyah's breath caught in her throat. She felt an inexplicable shift in the air, a hint of something unexpected looming just beyond the horizon. "Are you okay?" Tanya asked, sensing the change in her demeanor. "Yeah, I don't know," Aaliyah replied, shaking her head. "It all feels so surreal. Let's get inside. You're about to marry the man of your dreams. Nothing can ruin that," Tanya encouraged. As they stepped into the venue, Aaliyah took a deep breath, determined to push aside any lingering doubts. The beautiful room was adorned with flowers, twinkling lights, and familiar faces, all waiting to witness the love story of Aaliyah and Marcus. Little did she know, the day would hold more surprises than she could ever imagine, testing the very foundations of her love and identity. The atmosphere inside the ballroom was electric, a beautiful blend of excitement and anticipation. Aaliyah took a moment to soak in the stunning decor. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting a soft glow over tables adorned with lush floral arrangements. Every detail she had envisioned was coming to life, just as she had meticulously planned. "Look at this place. It's absolutely gorgeous," Tanya exclaimed, her eyes sparkling as she took in the sight. "You've outdone yourself, Aaliyah." "Thank you," Aaliyah replied, her heart swelling with pride. "I just wanted everything to be perfect for Marcus and our families." The soft strains of a string quartet filled the air, creating a romantic ambience that wrapped around Aaliyah like a warm embrace. She felt a rush of emotion as she looked at the guests who had come to witness their union, friends, family, and supportive faces that had traveled from near and far to celebrate with them. "Okay, let's get you lined up," Tanya said, nudging Aaliyah toward the entrance of the ceremony area. "You know how nervous Marcus gets. He'll be waiting for you with bated breath." Aaliyah nodded, her heart racing as they made their way to the back of the room. The bridal party was already in position, a mix of Aaliyah's closest friends and family, all beaming with joy. She could spot Marcus's sister, Maya, adjusting her dress, and Aaliyah felt a surge of gratitude for the love and support surrounding her. "Are you ready?" Tanya asked, her voice softening with sincerity. "Ready as I'll ever be," Aaliyah replied, her pulse quickening. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. The moment was so close now, everything she had dreamed of was within reach. As the door swung open, the soft light flooded into the hallway, and Aaliyah felt the world around her fade away. The guests turned in her direction, their smiles wide, and her heart soared. There was Marcus, front and center, looking dapper in his tailored suit. His wheelchair was adorned with a matching bow tie, and his blue eyes sparkled with a mixture of nerves and excitement. Aaliyah couldn't help but smile as she noticed the way his lips curled into a genuine grin upon seeing her. In that moment, everything felt right. She was walking toward the man who had taught her what true love meant, a love that transcended challenges and societal expectations. With each step, Aaliyah felt the weight of the day's significance settle over her, mingling with a sense of wonder. Her heart swelled with love for Marcus as she could feel the warmth radiating from the guests, their joy palpable in the air. It was a celebration of not just their love, but of resilience, hope, and community. As she reached the altar, Aaliyah's gaze locked with Marcus's. His expression was a mixture of adoration and vulnerability, and she felt a rush of emotions crash over her. This was the moment she had waited for, dreamed of, and fought for. "Welcome, everyone," the officiant began, his voice steady and warm. "We are gathered here today to celebrate the love between Aaliyah Johnson and Marcus Reed, a love that has flourished despite the challenges they have faced and will continue to face together." Aaliyah could barely focus on the words as she held Marcus's gaze. She felt as if the world had melted away, leaving just the two of them standing in their own universe. In that moment, all doubts vanished. They were meant to be together, united by a bond stronger than any societal norms or prejudices. The officiant continued, guiding them through the ceremony. Aaliyah felt her heart race as they exchanged their vows, each word a promise to love, support, and cherish one another through thick and thin. She could hear the soft whispers from the guests, the occasional sniffle from those touched by the moment, but all she could focus on was Marcus. "Do you, Aaliyah, take Marcus to be your lawfully wedded husband?" The officiant asked, his eyes shifting from Aaliyah to Marcus. "I do," she replied, her voice strong and unwavering. "And do you, Marcus, take Aaliyah to be your lawfully wedded wife?" "I do," Marcus said, his voice filled with emotion. As they exchanged rings, Aaliyah slipped the band onto Marcus's finger, her hands trembling with happiness. Marcus did the same, his touch gentle and reassuring. At that moment, she felt an overwhelming sense of belonging, as if every piece of her life had led her to this precise instant. "By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife," the officiant declared, his voice resonating through the room. "You may kiss the bride." Aaliyah leaned down, her heart racing as she pressed her lips against Marcus's. The kiss was sweet and tender, a promise of a future filled with love and adventure. The applause that erupted around them felt like a symphony, echoing the joy that filled her heart. As they pulled away, Aaliyah looked into Marcus's eyes, seeing the happiness reflected back at her. The world around them blurred into the background once more, and all that mattered was the love they shared. "Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. and Mrs. Reed," the officiant announced, and the room erupted in cheers. Aaliyah and Marcus turned to face their friends and family, their hearts full. They held hands tightly, feeling the support of their loved ones enveloping them. Tanya rushed forward, pulling Aaliyah into a tight hug. "You did it. You're officially a wife." Aaliyah laughed, her heart soaring. "I can't believe it. I'm so happy, Tanya." As the guests began to mingle and congratulate the newlyweds, Aaliyah felt a surge of gratitude for the people in her life. But just as the weight of joy settled in, she caught sight of an envelope on the table at the edge of the reception area. It was unfamiliar, and a sense of unease washed over her. "Hey, Tanya, what's that?" Aaliyah pointed, her curiosity piqued. "Not sure. Do you want to check it out?" Tanya replied, glancing at the envelope. Aaliyah felt a knot form in her stomach, but nodded. "Yeah, let's see." As she approached the table, the laughter and celebration around her began to fade into a distant hum. She reached for the envelope, her heart racing. She could feel that something was off, but the day had been perfect so far. Maybe it was just a card from a guest. But as she opened the envelope, her breath caught in her throat. The letter inside was addressed to her, and as she read the words, her world began to tilt. A shocking revelation unfolded before her eyes, one that threatened to unravel everything she had just celebrated. "Marcus," she whispered, her voice trembling. Tanya turned to her, concern etched on her face. "Aaliyah, what's wrong?" Aaliyah's heart raced as she tried to process the words on the page, feeling the weight of the letter's implications. I need to talk to Marcus." The joy of their wedding day began to feel like a distant memory as Aaliyah turned back to the crowd, searching for the familiar face that had once been her anchor. She felt a storm brewing inside her, one that could shatter everything she had worked so hard to build. Aaliyah felt as if the ground beneath her was crumbling. The joyous atmosphere of the wedding reception faded into an indistinct blur as she glanced around, searching for Marcus. The laughter and clinking of glasses that had moments ago filled her with warmth now felt like a cacophony, drowning out her thoughts. "Are you okay?" Tanya asked, her voice edged with concern as she placed a comforting hand on Aaliyah's shoulder, but Aaliyah barely registered it. I need to find Marcus," Aaliyah stammered, her heart racing as she carefully folded the letter back into the envelope. The words danced mockingly in her mind, a relentless reminder of the truth she had just uncovered. "Let's go to him," Tanya said, her voice steady, yet laced with worry. She took Aaliyah's hand, guiding her through the throng of guests who were blissfully unaware of the turmoil brewing within the newlywed. Aaliyah's mind raced as they navigated through the sea of well-wishers, her heart pounding in her chest. The letter had revealed a secret about her family, a legacy of racism that she had believed was buried, along with the estrangement from her father. She had always known bits and pieces of her family's history, but this was a revelation that rocked her to her core. "Where is he?" Aaliyah murmured, her throat tightening. She scanned the room, searching for Marcus's familiar face. "Over there, by the bar," Tanya pointed, and Aaliyah's heart skipped a beat as she spotted Marcus, his charming smile still bright despite the chaos of emotion swirling within her. Marcus was chatting with some guests, his laughter ringing out like music. He looked so happy, so full of life, and for a moment, Aaliyah felt a flicker of what had been so perfect just moments ago. But the weight of the letter loomed over her like a storm cloud, casting a shadow on the brightness of the day. "Hey, Marcus," Tanya called out, trying to bridge the gap between them. As Marcus turned, his blue eyes met Aaliyah's, and in that instant, she felt the world tilt again. Everything she had known, every moment they had shared, suddenly felt fragile like a delicate glass sculpture on the verge of shattering. He wheeled himself closer, the smile on his face faltering slightly as he noticed the look in her eyes. "Aaliyah, is everything okay?" he asked, concern etched into his features. She opened her mouth to speak, but the words clung to her throat like a heavy weight. How could she tell him about the letter, about the family secret that threatened to unravel their love? I got a letter," she finally managed, her voice barely above a whisper. "A letter," Marcus repeated, his brow furrowing. "On our wedding day." Her heart sank further as she nodded, the guilt washing over her. "It's from my dad. He revealed something about our family, something I didn't know." Marcus's expression shifted from confusion to worry, and Aaliyah could see the tension in his body. "What did it say?" "I can't." Aaliyah started, and the tears threatened to spill over. "I can't talk about it here. Not with everyone watching." He glanced around, understanding dawning in his eyes. "Okay, let's find somewhere private." Tanya, sensing the gravity of the moment, excused herself, giving them the space they needed. Aaliyah felt a mixture of gratitude and panic as she and Marcus moved toward a quieter corner of the venue, away from the laughter and celebration. Once they were out of earshot, Aaliyah took a deep breath, trying to steady her racing heart. "Marcus, I don't even know where to begin. The letter. It talks about our family's past, my father's past. There are things I never knew." Marcus's gaze softened, and he reached for her hand, his touch grounding her amidst the whirlwind of emotions. "Aaliyah, whatever it is, we'll face it together. You know that. I thought I understood my family's history," she continued, her voice trembling. "But this, it changes everything. It says that my grandfather was a part of a group that believed in racial superiority. My father distanced himself from that legacy, but I never thought it ran so deep." Tears streamed down her cheeks as she struggled to articulate her feelings. "What if it changes how you see me? What if it changes how people see us?" Marcus's expression hardened slightly, and he leaned closer, his blue eyes piercing through her fears. "Aaliyah, listen to me. Your worth is not defined by your family's past. We've built something beautiful together, something that's ours. I won't let anyone's prejudice dictate what we have." But she started, but he gently squeezed her hand, silencing her. "No buts, Aaliyah. This is our love story, and it's not written by anyone else. We will confront this together, and if your father wants to be a part of your life again, then we'll figure it out." Aaliyah felt a flicker of hope ignite inside her, but the anxiety still lingered. "I'm scared, Marcus, scared that this will change everything." He smiled softly, his gaze unwavering. "Change can be scary, but it can also lead to growth. You and I have faced challenges before, and we've come out stronger on the other side. This is just another hurdle that we'll jump together." His words wrapped around her like a warm embrace, and Aaliyah felt the tension begin to ease. "You're right," she said, wiping the tears from her cheeks. "I can't let this define me, us." "Exactly," Marcus said, his voice filled with conviction. "And no matter what, I love you, Aaliyah. That won't change." Just as Aaliyah was beginning to feel a sense of clarity, Tanya reappeared, her expression serious. "Hey, is everything okay? I saw you to over here." And before Tanya could finish, the lights in the venue flickered, momentarily casting the room into darkness. Aaliyah's heart raced as the sounds of confusion erupted around them, "What's happening?" Marcus asked, looking around. "I don't know." Tanya replied, her eyes wide. "Maybe a power outage." "Let's get back to the main area." Aaliyah's heart raced again, but this time with a different kind of anxiety. "We can't just leave this conversation hanging." Marcus looked at her, his expression firm. "We'll pick this up later, Aaliyah. Right now, let's make sure everyone is okay." With a deep breath, Aaliyah nodded, knowing that no matter what was about to unfold, they would face it together. As they made their way back toward the chaos of the reception, the flickering lights and rising voices seemed to echo the turmoil in her heart. The day that had begun with so much promise was now filled with uncertainty, and Aaliyah braced herself for whatever lay ahead, determined to protect the love that had brought them to this moment. Together, she whispered to herself and to Marcus, who nodded in agreement, his grip on her hand reassuring as they stepped back into the fray, ready to confront whatever challenges awaited them. As Aaliyah and Marcus navigated through the bustling reception area, the flickering lights gradually stabilized, revealing a scene of mild chaos. Guests were murmuring, some laughing nervously, while others appeared concerned. The string quartet had ceased playing, leaving an awkward silence hanging in the air, punctuated only by the sound of clinking glasses and hushed conversations. "Let's head back to the main area and check on everyone," Marcus suggested, his tone calm and collected, a stark contrast to the whirlwind of emotions within Aaliyah. She nodded, grateful for his presence, but her mind was still reeling from the letter and its implications. As they approached the center of the room, Tanya caught Aaliyah's eye, her expression a mix of worry and support. "You okay?" she mouthed, and Aaliyah managed a small nod. "Let's just get through the reception," Aaliyah whispered to Marcus, her heart heavy with uncertainty. "We'll deal with everything after." "Sounds like a plan," he replied, squeezing her hand gently. The warmth of his touch reminded her of their shared strength, and she found solace in it, even as the reality of the letter hovered ominously in the background. As they rejoined the festivities, the atmosphere shifted, laughter resumed, and the chatter grew louder as guests began to reclaim the joy of the day. Aaliyah's gaze wandered over the crowd, friends and family celebrating love, unity, and hope. In that moment, she felt an overwhelming wave of gratitude for the support surrounding her, even as her internal struggle continued. The reception was a vibrant tapestry of life, with colorful decorations and delicious food, but Aaliyah couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. She spotted her mother, who had always been a pillar of strength, chatting animatedly with a group of relatives. Aaliyah felt an instinctive urge to confide in her, to seek comfort in the familiar warmth of family, but the weight of the letter held her back. "Hey, I'm going to grab us something to drink," Marcus said, breaking through her thoughts. "Want anything? Just some water, please," Aaliyah replied, her voice still a touch shaky. As he wheeled away, she took a deep breath, trying to collect her thoughts. She felt a hand on her shoulder and turned to find Tanya standing beside her, concern etched on her face. "You okay?" "That was intense," she said softly. "I don't know, Tanya. I thought today would be perfect, but now." Aaliyah trailed off, her voice thick with emotion. "Look, whatever that letter says, it doesn't change who you are. You're still the incredible woman who planned this beautiful wedding and fell in love with an amazing man," Tanya reassured her, her voice steady. "But it changes everything I thought I knew about my family," Aaliyah replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if Marcus sees me differently now? What if the world sees us differently?" Tanya shook her head. "Aaliyah, you can't let your father's choices dictate your life or your relationship. You and Marcus are strong together, and love is what matters most." Aaliyah considered this, but a nagging doubt still tugged at her heart. It's hard to reconcile what I know about myself with the new piece of information I just received. I feel like I'm standing on shaky ground." Just then, Marcus returned with a glass of water for Aaliyah and a sparkling lemonade for himself. "Here you go," he said, offering the drink with a smile that lit up his face. "Thanks," Aaliyah murmured, taking a sip. The cool liquid felt refreshing, yet it did little to quell the turmoil within her. Marcus glanced between Aaliyah and Tanya, sensing the tension. "What's going on?" he asked, his brow furrowing slightly. "Just a little post-wedding anxiety," Tanya replied, her attempt at lightness falling flat. "You know how it is, Yeah, I get it, Marcus said, his expression turning serious. But remember, it's okay to talk about what you're feeling, Aaliyah. I'm here for you. Aaliyah felt her heart swell at his words, but the weight of the letter was still heavy on her chest. I want to enjoy our day, she said, her voice trembling. But I can't shake this feeling that everything is about to change. Let's take a moment, just the two of us, Marcus suggested, his blue eyes unwavering. We can step outside for a bit. Aaliyah nodded, grateful for the opportunity to escape the noise and chaos of the reception for just a moment. As they made their way out to the patio, the cool evening air enveloped them, bringing a welcome relief from the intensity of the ballroom. They settled into a quiet corner adorned with twinkling fairy lights and a beautiful view of the Atlanta skyline. The city sparkled in the distance, a reminder of the beauty that still existed in the world, even amidst the turmoil inside her. Breathe, Marcus said gently, his voice soothing. Just focus on the here and now. Aaliyah took a deep breath, letting the fresh air fill her lungs. I'm trying, I really am. But I feel like I'm being pulled into directions between wanting to embrace my past and protect our future. Marcus nodded, his expression thoughtful. You don't have to have all the answers right now. Just take it one step at a time. We'll figure this out together, I promise. Tears brimmed in Aaliyah's eyes as she looked at him, feeling the weight of his words. You make it sound so easy, she said, a small smile breaking through her anxiety. It's not easy, he admitted, his voice earnest. But I believe in us, and I believe in your strength. You've overcome so much already. This is just another challenge, and I'll be right here with you. Aaliyah felt a flicker of hope reignite within her. Thank you, Marcus. I'm so grateful to have you in my life. He reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers. And I'm grateful for you. Whatever happens, we'll face it together. But remember, you're not defined by your past or your family's choices. Just as Aaliyah opened her mouth to respond, the sound of laughter and applause echoed from inside the ballroom. The joyous noise reminded her of the celebration they were supposed to be part of. Aaliyah felt a sudden rush of determination. You're right. Today is supposed to be about us, our love. Exactly, Marcus replied, a proud smile on his face. Let's go back in there and celebrate what we have. With newfound resolve, Aaliyah took a deep breath, feeling lighter. Together, they walked back toward the reception, hand in hand, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they stepped through the doors, Aaliyah felt a shift within her, a determination to embrace her truth while honoring the love they had built. It wouldn't be easy, but she was willing to confront the past to protect their future. Little did she know, the night was far from over, and the revelations awaiting her would test the very foundations of their love. As Aaliyah and Marcus re-entered the reception, the atmosphere was buoyant, the music lively, and laughter echoed around them. Yet, beneath the surface of celebration, Aaliyah sensed an undercurrent of tension that mirrored her own internal conflict. She felt a tug at her heart, a reminder of the letter that had cast a shadow over their wedding day, but she pushed those thoughts aside for now. Today was meant to be about love, joy, and the union they had fought so hard to achieve. Let's dance, Marcus suggested, his voice breaking through her thoughts. He flashed her a smile that made her heart flutter, the same smile that had drawn her to him from the very beginning. Okay, Aaliyah replied, feeling a rush of excitement as he wheeled himself toward the dance floor, a space alive with energy. Guests swayed to the rhythm of a romantic ballad, and she took his hands, feeling the warmth of his skin, grounding her in the moment. As they danced, Aaliyah closed her eyes, allowing the music to envelop her, momentarily pushing aside the letter's weight. She focused on the sound of Marcus's laughter, the way his eyes sparkled with joy, and the love radiating between them. But as they swayed, she couldn't ignore the flicker of uncertainty in Marcus's expression. She could see it in the way his smile faltered occasionally and the slight tension in his shoulders. She had been so consumed by her own fears that she hadn't fully considered how the day had affected him. Are you okay? Aaliyah asked softly, pulling back to look into his eyes. You seem a bit distant. Marcus hesitated, his gaze drifting to the crowd. I'm fine, he replied, but Aaliyah could hear the uncertainty in his voice. Marcus, she pressed gently, it's okay to not be okay. This day has been a lot for both of us." He let out a breath, his blue eyes meeting hers with a vulnerability that made her heart ache. "I guess I'm just feeling a little overwhelmed," he admitted. "I want today to be perfect for you, and I know how much this day means to you, but, Aaliyah encouraged, sensing there was more he needed to say. "I'm just worried about how this revelation about your family might affect us," he confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've faced discrimination and prejudice my whole life, and the thought of having to navigate that in your world is terrifying." Aaliyah's heart sank at his words. She had been so focused on her own fears that she hadn't considered how the letter would impact Marcus. "I never wanted to bring you into that," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You've already overcome so much, and I don't want my past to become a burden for you." "It's not a burden," he replied, his voice steady as he held her gaze. "But it feels like a reminder of everything I've fought against. I love you, Aaliyah, and I want to build a future with you, but I can't help but wonder if I'm enough for you. What if the world sees us differently now?" "Marcus, please don't think that way," Aaliyah said urgently. "You are more than enough for me. You've shown me what love truly means, and I refuse to let anyone's prejudice dictate our happiness. I know that," he said softly, his expression earnest. "But the reality is, we're living in a world that doesn't always accept us. I've seen the looks, heard the comments. Sometimes, I feel like I'm fighting a battle I can't win." Aaliyah felt tears prick her eyes as she listened to him. "You're not alone in this fight, Marcus. We're in this together. You've taught me to be strong, to stand up for what I believe in. I need you to trust that we can face whatever comes our way." He took a deep breath, and she could see the conflict within him. "I want to believe that, but there's a part of me that worries, what if this revelation about your family changes how I see you? What if it changes how others see us?" Aaliyah's heart raced at the thought. "It won't change how I see you. You are the man I love, the man I chose to marry. My family's past doesn't define my future, and it certainly doesn't define us. Maybe," he replied, his brow furrowing in contemplation. "But it's hard to shake the feeling that this could change everything, especially when we're already navigating so many challenges." "Then let's face those challenges," Aaliyah urged, squeezing his hands. "Let's confront this head on, together. We can talk to my parents, figure out how to address this without letting it tear us apart." He studied her, a mix of admiration and fear in his gaze. "You're so strong, Aaliyah. I admire that about you, but what if it's too much? What if the past becomes too heavy for us to carry? Then we share the weight," she insisted, her conviction growing. "That's what love is, Marcus. It's about supporting each other, no matter how difficult the journey may be. We've already overcome so much, don't you see, that we're capable of handling this too." He took a moment, the conflict in his eyes slowly giving way to determination. "You're right. I can't let fear dictate how I feel about us. I love you, and I want to fight for our future." Just then, the music shifted to a more upbeat tempo, and the atmosphere in the ballroom transformed once again. Laughter erupted, and the dance floor filled with guests eager to celebrate. Aaliyah felt a surge of energy wash over her, a reminder of the joy that had brought them together. "Let's not lose sight of what today is about," she said, her smile returning as she pulled Marcus back into the dance. "We're celebrating our love, and nothing can take that away from us." As they swayed to the music, Aaliyah felt the connection between them deepen, a promise that they would face whatever lay ahead together. The challenges of the past were daunting, but the love they had built was stronger. As the song came to an end, Aaliyah looked into Marcus's eyes, her heart full of hope. "Let's enjoy this moment, just us, before we have to face the world again." He grinned, the light returning to his eyes. "I like that." And as they danced, Aaliyah felt a sense of resolve solidify within her. They would confront the past together, but for now, they would celebrate the love that had brought them to this moment. Little did they know, the night was far from over, and the challenges they faced were just beginning. Aaliyah was determined to protect the love they had built, even if it meant confronting the shadows of her family's legacy. As the music played on, Aaliyah took a deep breath, ready to embrace whatever came next. Hand in hand with Marcus, their love shining brighter than any obstacle that lay ahead. The vibrant energy of the reception enveloped Aaliyah and Marcus as they rejoined the celebration. The music pulsed through the room, filling the air with laughter and joy, yet the weight of the earlier conversation lingered like a specter. Aaliyah could see the excitement in the eyes of their friends and family, who were eagerly awaiting the couple's return to the dance floor. "Let's make a toast," Tanya exclaimed, her voice cutting through the chatter. She stood with a glass of champagne, her smile infectious as she beckoned for everyone's attention to the newlyweds, Aaliyah and Marcus. "May your love shine brighter than any challenge that comes your way." Aaliyah felt a swell of warmth as the guests raised their glasses, their cheers echoing through the ballroom. "Cheers." They all shouted, and Aaliyah clinked her glass against Marcus's, feeling grateful for the support surrounding them. "Here's to love, resilience, and a lifetime of happiness," Marcus added, his voice steady as he looked into Aaliyah's eyes. She could see the determination in his gaze, a silent promise that they would face whatever came next together. As the toast continued, Aaliyah felt a mix of emotions: joy, love, and the lingering anxiety brought on by the letter. But for now, she pushed those thoughts aside, determined to savor every moment of their special day. They danced again, moving seamlessly to the rhythm of the music, their bodies swaying in perfect harmony. Aaliyah lost herself in the moment, letting the music wash over her, the laughter and excitement of the reception pulling her back into the celebration. "Look over there," Tanya exclaimed, pointing toward a group of guests gathered near the dessert table. "They've brought out the cake." Aaliyah's heart raced at the sight of the towering wedding cake, adorned with delicate flowers and intricate designs. The cake was a masterpiece, a testament to her hard work and planning, and she felt a rush of pride. "Let's go check it out," Marcus said, wheeling himself toward the table, his eyes lighting up with excitement. As they approached, Aaliyah caught sight of her mother, who was chatting with some family friends. She felt a flicker of hesitation. How would she approach her mother about the letter? Would her mother share the same feelings of confusion and fear that Aaliyah had experienced? "Hey, Mom," Aaliyah called, forcing a smile as she joined her mother at the table. "Look at the cake, isn't it beautiful?" Her mother turned, her eyes sparkling with pride. "It's absolutely stunning, sweetheart. You did such an incredible job planning everything." "Thank you," Aaliyah replied, her heart swelling with warmth. But as they spoke, the words of the letter lingered in the back of her mind, a constant reminder of the unresolved tension. "Is everything okay?" her mother asked, her gaze shifting from the cake to Aaliyah's face. "You seem a bit distracted." Aaliyah hesitated, her heart racing. There's something I need to discuss with you and Dad later," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Her mother frowned slightly, concern etched on her features. "Is it about the letter?" Aaliyah's breath caught in her throat. "How did you know? I saw you earlier, and I could tell something was on your mind," her mother replied gently. "Just know that whatever it is, we're here for you." Aaliyah nodded, grateful for her mother's support, but feeling the weight of the moment. She wanted to talk to her parents, to understand the truth about her family's past, but she also wanted to protect the love she had built with Marcus. "Let's cut the cake," Tanya interrupted, her excitement infectious as she motioned for the newlyweds to join her. Aaliyah felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Okay, let's do it," she said, forcing a smile as she turned her attention back to the celebration. As they prepared to cut the cake, Aaliyah felt the energy in the room shift once again. Guests gathered around, phones raised, capturing the moment as she and Marcus stood together, poised to slice the first piece. On the count of 3, Tanya shouted, her enthusiasm contagious. 1, 2, 3. Together, Aaliyah and Marcus brought the knife down, cutting through the layers of the cake. Cheers erupted, and Aaliyah felt a rush of joy as she turned to Marcus, their eyes meeting in a shared moment of happiness. "Now for the fun part," Marcus said with a mischievous grin, and Aaliyah knew exactly what he meant. With a playful glint in his eye, he leaned in and smeared a small piece of cake on her nose, laughter erupting from the crowd. Aaliyah gasped, her laughter mingling with the guests as she retaliated, her hands covered in frosting as she playfully smeared cake on his cheek. "Oh, it's on," Marcus laughed, his eyes twinkling with mischief. The playful cake fight drew more cheers, and Aaliyah felt the tension from earlier fade into the background. In this moment, surrounded by love and laughter, she knew they could face anything together. As the cake was served, Aaliyah took a moment to scan the room, soaking in the joy of their friends and family. She felt a sense of gratitude wash over her, a reminder of the love that had brought them all together to celebrate this special day. But just as she began to relax, she caught sight of her father standing at the edge of the crowd, his expression unreadable. Aaliyah's heart raced as she felt a mix of emotions: fear, anger, and uncertainty. "Is everything okay?" Marcus asked, noticing her sudden stillness. "Yeah, I need to talk to my dad," Aaliyah replied, her voice shaking slightly. "Are you sure?" Marcus asked, concern etched on his face. "You don't have to force yourself if you're not ready." Aaliyah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "No, I need to do this. I can't let the shadow of the past hang over us." "Not today." Marcus nodded, his expression filled with understanding. "I'm right here with you, Aaliyah. You can do this." With newfound determination, Aaliyah made her way through the crowd, her heart pounding in her chest. As she approached her father, she felt a surge of emotions: years of estrangement, unspoken words, and the weight of the letter pressing down on her. "Dad," she said, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of feelings inside her. He turned to face her, surprise evident in his eyes. "Aaliyah, can we talk?" she interrupted, her heart racing. "I need to understand the truth about our family." "About everything." Her father's expression shifted, and Aaliyah felt the tension in the air thicken. She could see the uncertainty in his eyes, but she was ready to confront the past, ready to face whatever truths awaited her. "Of course," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "Let's find somewhere private." As they stepped away from the crowd, Aaliyah felt a mix of apprehension and determination. It was time to confront her past, and she was ready to face whatever came next. With Marcus by her side and love in her heart, she knew they would navigate this journey together. Little did she know, the conversation that awaited her would change everything, testing the very foundations of her identity and the love she shared with Marcus. Aaliyah was prepared to embrace her truth, no matter how painful it might be. Aaliyah followed her father through the crowd, her heart pounding in her chest. The vibrant music and laughter faded into the background as she focused on the conversation that lay ahead. She glanced back at Marcus, who gave her an encouraging nod, grounding her as they moved toward a quieter area of the venue. They found a secluded corner, away from the prying eyes of guests, and Aaliyah felt a rush of emotions collide within her. She had spent years feeling the weight of her father's absence, grappling with questions about her identity and family legacy. Now, she was finally ready to confront the man whose choices had shaped her past. "Dad," Aaliyah began, her voice steady, but laced with emotion, "I received a letter from you today. It revealed things about our family that I never knew." Her father's expression shifted, a mixture of guilt and regret washing over him. "I wanted to explain, Aaliyah. I should have told you the truth long ago, but I was afraid of how it would affect you." "Afraid?" Aaliyah echoed, her heart racing. "You were afraid?" "I've been living with this shadow hanging over me, and you chose to stay silent. You let me grow up without knowing about the legacy of racism in our family." He sighed deeply, looking down at his hands. "I was ashamed. My father was part of a group that believed in racial superiority, and I distanced myself from that life as soon as I could. I didn't want to pass that burden on to you. I thought I could protect you by keeping it hidden." Aaliyah felt a surge of anger and betrayal, but beneath it, there was also a flicker of understanding. "But you didn't protect me, Dad. You kept me in the dark. I found out about our family's past from a letter on my wedding day, on the day I promised to love and cherish someone who already faces so much prejudice in this world." Her father looked up, his eyes filled with remorse. "I'm sorry, Aaliyah. I thought I could shield you from the pain of knowing who we are. But I see now that I was wrong. You deserve the truth, no matter how painful it is." "Do you really think that hiding the truth would make it disappear?" Aaliyah asked, her voice rising slightly. "You can't just bury the past and expect it to stay buried. It shapes us, whether we acknowledge it or not." He nodded, his expression somber. "I know that now. I've spent years trying to atone for my father's beliefs by dedicating my life to fighting against racism. But I realized that I should have been honest with you. I failed you as a father." Aaliyah took a deep breath, her emotions swirling. "I want to understand, Dad. I want to know how you've confronted this legacy. How have you worked to change your own beliefs?" Her father hesitated, then began to share his journey, how he had turned away from his past, how he had embraced a life dedicated to social justice and equality. He spoke about the organizations he had joined, the marches he had participated in, and the conversations he had had with people from different backgrounds. "I know I can't change the past," he said softly, "but I want to help you understand that I'm not that man anymore. I fought against the very things that once defined our family." Aaliyah listened intently, her heart beginning to soften as she saw her father's vulnerability. "It's not enough to just fight against it, Dad. You need to confront it. You need to acknowledge the pain it has caused. I realize that now. I want to be a better father to you and a better person," he replied, his voice earnest. "I want to support you and Marcus. I know I have a long way to go, but I'm willing to try." Aaliyah felt a wave of emotion wash over her. "I want to believe that, Dad, but it's going to take time. It's going to take work. I'm ready to put in that work," he promised, his eyes filled with sincerity. "I want to be part of your life again, and I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust." As they spoke, Aaliyah felt the weight of the letter begin to lift. It would take time to heal and rebuild their relationship, but for the first time, she felt a glimmer of hope. "Let's work through this together," Aaliyah said, her voice steady. "You and I can have those difficult conversations. I want to understand your journey, and I want you to understand mine." He nodded, a mixture of relief and gratitude washing over him. "Thank you, Aaliyah. I promise to be honest with you from now on." Just then, Marcus appeared at the edge of their conversation, his expression curious but supportive. "How's it going?" he asked gently. Aaliyah turned to him, her heart swelling with appreciation. "We're starting to talk about everything. It's a beginning." Marcus smiled, stepping closer. "That's all you can ask for. Just remember, I'm here for you both." Aaliyah felt a sense of unity forming between her father, and Marcus. They were all intertwined in this journey of healing and understanding, and she felt a renewed sense of determination to embrace her truth. As they returned to the reception, Aaliyah felt lighter, the joy of the day returning. She and Marcus rejoined their friends and family, laughter and music washing over them once again. The atmosphere was filled with love, and Aaliyah couldn't help but smile as she took in the scene. Hours later, as the evening drew to a close, Aaliyah stood alongside Marcus, looking around at the people who had gathered to celebrate their love. She felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the journey they had taken together, the challenges they had faced, and the love that had only grown stronger. "Thank you for being my rock today," Marcus said softly, wrapping his arm around her waist. "I couldn't have done this without you." Aaliyah turned to him, her heart full. "And thank you for reminding me of the strength we share. I love you, Marcus. I'm ready to face anything with you." As the last song played, Aaliyah and Marcus shared a dance, their hearts intertwined as they moved together. They had faced the shadows of the past and emerged stronger, ready to embrace the future hand in hand. In the final moments of the night, Aaliyah looked around at her loved ones, knowing that the journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but it would be filled with love, resilience, and hope. She felt a renewed sense of purpose, ready to confront whatever challenges lay ahead. As the celebration came to an end, Aaliyah felt a sense of closure wash over her. The letter had been a catalyst for change, and now she was determined to shape the narrative of her life, one filled with love and acceptance. Together, she whispered to Marcus, sealing their promise to navigate the complexities of life side by side. What did you think of the story? Share your thoughts in the comments.